Welcome back to Black Movie Recaps. Today I'm going to show you an American biographical crime drama film from 2013 titled Fruitvale Station. This is a spoiler content. Watch out and take care. Fruitvale chronicles the final hours of the life of Oscar Grant. The movie begins with the actual footage of the scene at the Fruitvale BART station in Oakland on that New Year's Day in 2009. The BART police have detained Grant and his friends with indistinct shouting. Grant stands up and the police try to contain him when suddenly a gunshot is heard as the movie pitches to black. We see 22-year-old Oscar Grant arguing with his girlfriend Sophina about his infidelity. Oscar feels something in the air, but not sure what it is. He takes it as a sign to get a head start on his resolutions. Starting by being a better son to his mother, whose birthday falls on New Year's Eve, being a better partner to his girlfriend Sophina, who he hasn't been completely honest with as of late, and being a better father to Tatiana, their beautiful 4-year-old daughter. He tells her that part of her life is over and all he wants is Sophina and Tatiana forever. Suddenly Tatiana knocks on the door and Grant hides his stash of marijuana. He opens and Tatiana tells her dad she cannot sleep and asks if she can sleep by them. Grant agrees and the three of them sleep together through the night. The following morning, Oscar and Sophina are getting Tatiana ready to send her to school. She asks her mom if she can get an extra fruit snack, but she declines her request. Upon arrival, Oscar gives her the extra fruit snack and tells her to keep it as a secret when dropping her off. He drops Sophina at work and heads over to the grocery store where he used to work but lost his job due to constantly being late and losing his temper but hasn't told anybody yet. On his way, Oscar calls his mom, Wanda, to wish him happy birthday and tells her he'll come home the night to celebrate her birthday. He gets there and see a customer named Katie, who's unsure of what to get to make fried fish for a friend who loves it. Oscar calls his grandma to help Katie figure it out. Grandma Bonnie agrees and he hands Katie the phone and he leaves to go find Emmy, his former boss. Oscar tries to convince Emmy to give him his job back but was unsuccessful. Emmy tells him he has already hired someone who has never been late once and cannot fire him. Katie calls Oscar later and thanks him for helping her out. He grabs some things from the shop for her mom and heads home. His rent is due and simultaneously the sister Shantae also calls him to help her out financially with her rent and give their mom a card on her behalf, to which he agreed. Grant's love for Wanda and his family in general is demonstrated by Oscar spending much of the day preparing for Wanda's birthday party that evening and willing to help his sister Shantae out of a financial bind despite he not even knowing if he will have enough money to pay his own rent due tomorrow. He calls Marcus and reconsiders selling dope. He takes the stash and leaves to meet him. On his way, he heads to a gas station for a refill. He sees a dog and plays with it briefly and returns to fill his tank. Whilst at it, he sees the dog get hit by a car, but the person in the car never stops to see if the dog was okay. Oscar runs over to try to save the dog but it's too late, the poor creature is dead. Looking at a picture of himself and Tatiana, Oscar reconsiders his decision again when sitting on a rock by a lake. We're treated to a flashback, where Oscar remembers his time at the San Quentin Federal Penitentiary on New Year's Eve in 2007. He used to be a drug dealer and has served jail time. Wanda visits him and sees his bruised face but he dodges the question when she asked about it. They start having a lovely conversation when suddenly one inmate disrespects Wanda. Oscar is extremely furious at this but Wanda manages to calm him down and again asks what happened to his face, but once again, he tries not to answer her. Wanda tells him she's not going to be visiting him anymore and this is her last time. She tells Oscar Tatiana doesn't need to put through this and tells him to change his life around, at least for Tatiana. He is irate that Wanda is going to leave him and starts saying some hurtful things to her. Wanda tells him she loves him and is praying for him, then begins to leave. Oscar starts apologizing and asks his mom to give him a hug at least, but she doesn't turn back. The flashback ends as Oscar keeps on rethinking getting back into the drug game. He decides it's not worth losing his relationship with Sophina and Tatiana over it and dumps the stash in the water. Oscar is truly trying to turn his life around, not only for Sophina and Tatiana's sakes, but his true love for them and his mother, Wanda, whose support and tough love has fostered him wanting to be a better person. Marcus later comes to meet him and Oscar tells him he thought he wasn't going to make it so he already sold it to someone. He gives him his last piece and tells him to keep the money. Marcus tries to burn one with him but Oscar refuses and he thanks him as he leaves. Oscar later heads to Sophina's workplace to pick her up from work with her holding a cake she got for Wanda. Before entering the car, she gets angry and tells Oscar to stop blowing trees in the car before picking Tatiana. To which he says nothing and drives in disappointment in himself. Tatiana is extremely excited to see her dad as she tells her father about her day at school. They play Catch Me If You Can on their way to the car and he takes them to Sophina's mom's. Sophina asks her mom if she can watch over Tatiana the night but she tells her she cannot and suggests Sophina's sister. Tatiana is having a good time watching TV with her grandma and simultaneously, Sofina is arguing with Oscar after he reveals to her that he lost his job 2 weeks ago. Sofina thinks he's gone back to selling, but Oscar tells him he's dumped it and was serious when he told her he's trying to get a fresh start, although things are hard. Sofina can't believe he dumped the stash when he got no job and asks Oscar what they're going to do now. He tells her to first find something legal to do and hopes he doesn't mess it up for 30 days. Saying that's how long Oprah said it takes to form a habit. Sofina laughs and they make up as she tells him never to make her go through that again. Sometime later, they arrive at Wanda's place and they exchange pleasantries. Oscar sits with the men as he fills the birthday cards while Sofina and Tatiana help Wanda and Grandma Bonnie in the kitchen make Grandma's famous gumbo meal. Food is ready and Wanda calls the men to the kitchen as Grandma Bonnie dishes out everyone's food. They share a moment of prayer and begin the birthday celebration. Wanda thanks Oscar for the days and asks if they got any plans for the night. He tells her they plan to catch the fireworks with Sofina and his friends. Wanda is worried they might be drinking, so she suggests they take the train. Oscar assures her he won't be drinking since he doesn't even remember the last time he had a drink. But Wanda is still skeptical about his friends and tells him with the train they can drink and hang out and not have anything to worry about. Oscar agrees and messages his friend to take the train out. Later, Oscar, Sofina and Tatiana say their goodbyes and leave. Sofina takes Tatiana to her sisters to watch over her when they're gone. Tatiana realized her parents are not staying the night with her and she tells Oscar she's scared because she hears gunshots outside. He tells her those are firecrackers and she's safe with her cousins inside. She asks, "What about you, Daddy?" And Oscar tells her he's going to be fine. He promised to take her out the next day with her mom and leaves after telling her he loves her. They meet with his friends at the station and they board the train to go to San Francisco to see the fireworks and other New Year's festivities. His friends smoke on the train and try to get the attention of some ladies who are also smoking on the train. The train is delaying, so someone brings out a player and they start dancing. At 11:59, Oscar finds someone with a watch and tells everyone to turn down the music as they count down to 2008. They wish one another Happy New Year and were treated to some fireworks. They leave the train and join a group of people on the street chattering, cheering, honking and shouting that they've made it to the new year. Later that evening, Sofina, together with another woman, feels the need to take a pee. Oscar sees a store and begs the man to at least let the women in after he told them the shop is closed. He agrees to let them. Later, a stranger with a pregnant wife asks Oscar where he can find a bathroom and Oscar again pleads with the man to look at her condition and allow her in. During the wait, Oscar starts small conversations with the man who tells him he had nothing when he married her wife. Oscar asks him how he was able to afford a ring and, not looking too proud, he tells him he stole it. He advises Oscar not to go that road and he assures him he wouldn't. He tells him he's now the owner of a tech company and gives Oscar his card. The women return and they head back to the station to return home. On the train, Oscar finds Sofina a seat and she tells him she'll be fine, so he should go find himself a seat too. On his way, Katie, the customer at the grocery store where Oscar used to work, recognizes Oscar and calls out his name. This causes a man Grant knew in prison to notice him. Sofina asks Oscar what's going on and he tells her to go get his friend, and immediately the guy starts assaulting him. Suddenly a fight breaks out. His boys return and break him from them as the police get alerted. They try to leave the station, but the Bart police shows up and target the black men involved to arrest them. Officer Caruso assaults them in the process as he exhibits police brutality. Oscar, together with the people witnessing the scene, start to record what's going on. Another officer named Ingram joins them and Caruso tells him to keep an eye on them as he goes back to the train to look for witnesses. Amid the chaos, Sofina calls and asks where he is. He tells her they are holding them and beating them up, but he assures her he is fine. Oscar tries to talk to Caruso, but he assaults him. Officer Caruso calls him the N-word, agitating him, and Oscar is later put down by him and Officer Ingram. Caruso is stepping on his head and Ingram tries to get his hand cuff him, but after several unsuccessful attempts, he draws his gun and shoots Oscar in the back. He continued to cuff him as the police get the people and the train out of the place. Caruso calls for an ambulance. All Oscar kept saying was that he got a daughter. Stunned, Caruso demands to know what happened from Ingram, but he remained speechless. Sofina tries to find out what happened and his friends tell her the police shot him. The emergency response team arrive and start attending to him. Sofina is talking to Wanda when he sees Oscar being brought out on a stretcher. She tells them she's his baby mama and requests to go with them, but she's denied and Oscar is rushed to the hospital. Wanda calls her back and Sofina tells her Oscar has been shot and they're taking him to Highland. They arrive at the hospital where they're told Oscar is in surgery. The doctor in charge comes out to tell them they've stabilized Oscar, but he's in critical condition as he hasn't fully responded to the transfusions yet, and they're doing everything possible they can to make sure he's alright. Wanda suggests to everyone that they should pray, and they gather together to pray for Oscar. Sometime later, The doctors come out to tell Wanda Oscar didn't make it. Wanda requests to see him but is told she cannot touch him because it's a homicide case. She's shown the body and breaks into tears, blaming herself for suggesting he takes the train and wished she had allowed him drive. She begged to be allowed to hug him but her request is denied. Sofina goes for Tatiana and takes her home. As they shower, Tatiana asks her mom where her father is, and the movie fades to black. Title cards at the end describe the aftermath. The incident shook the Bay Area to its very core, and caused the entire nation to be witnesses to the story of Oscar Grant. Grant's killing sparked a series of protests and riots across the city after the incident was recorded by several witnesses with cell phones and video cameras. The Bart officers involved were fired in Ingram. The officers' names were changed, was later tried and found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, claiming he mistook his gun for his taser, and was sentenced 2 years in state penitentiary but was released after 11 months. The final footage is of a gathering of people celebrating Grant's life on January 1, 2013, with an older Tatiana standing among them. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.